I'm going to call to order the City of Norco regular meeting at 6:02. If the clerk will take the roll, please.
Council members Newton. Here. Hoffman. Here. Bash. Mayor Pro Tem Hanna. Here. Mayor Grunmeyer.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. The City Council will recess to close.
Madam Mayor.
Oh.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to add yes, I'd like to add an item to closed session. This is a late developing item. Real property negotiation pertaining to APN number 119-020-022 and APN 119-020-015.
Is there a motion? Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded to add the item to the closed session agenda.
Council members Newton. Yes. Hoffman.
Yes.
Bash.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hanna. Yes. Mayor Grunmeyer.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So at this time, the council will recess to closed session to consider the items on the agenda. At this time, I'd like to call or reconvene the Norco City Council regular council meeting for Wednesday, May 1st. At this time, we'll have a report of actions taken in closed session.
Yes, the City Council added to the closed session agenda the negotiation over real property for assessors parcels numbers 119-020-022 and 119-020-015, and discuss the remaining issues that are listed on the closed session agenda, and there are no reportable actions.
All right, thank you. At this time, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Hanna, and if you'll stay standing for our invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Daniel from Beacon Hill Assembly of God.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this wonderful time you have given us to be here. We thank you for the gift of life. We bless the name of the Lord for congregating us here to deliberate on the matters of our city. Praying because your word says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And so is our city. We pray for our leaders that you would give them wisdom to lead and govern this city in the ways of the Lord. Praying that peace and tranquility will prevail in our city. Praying that our city will prosper in all what our leaders plan to do. In the name of Jesus. Be there for our leaders, guiding them in the ways of the Lord, and over and above for justice, be their shield and defender in whatever they do to govern the city, to and for the glory of God. We give you the glory, honor, and praise, for it is in Jesus' name that we pray. Let's say amen together. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Daniel. At this time, if the council will join me at the podium for a recognition, please. So we added something to the agenda for this evening. We are going to recognize Deputy Robertson this evening. Look at, there's that smile. We knew you wouldn't come back. So if you want to come up here real quick. Oh, yeah. So many of you probably don't know this, but we are happy to report that Sheriff Bianco
has announced that Deputy Robertson has been promoted to an investigator, and he will be working out of the Jurupa Valley Station for the Special Investigation Bureau starting on May 9th. So I'm going to let each of the council members say a few words about Deputy Robertson, and then we have a quick presentation of a plaque. I know, right? Now look, he wants to go. He deserves it. He's worked very hard. So, Councilman Newton, do you want to start? Say a few words about...
Should I repeat the threat you just gave me? This is an honest story. Okay, so we're going to miss you. There's no doubt. You know, you've been with us all throughout, and you've done a tremendous job. So last night we were at the park, pizza at the park. And the little boy here had cold hands. And so he was complaining to me about his cold hands. And I swear, I drove all over town today trying to find a Norco present for you, which I can't, so I'm going to have to get it to you. But cotton roping gloves, so you would remember us and keep your hands warm. They only had large size. So I'll work on finding those smaller ones for you. I miss you, buddy. Thank you.
So we're very proud of this deputy. He is amazing. When I was told he was leaving, I was really sad, but I'm very proud of the fact that we've had 2 deputies of the year in a row, and I feel like the former sheriff and the current sheriff really go out of their way to take care of the city of Norco, and this guy is absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud he's leaving us to go to greener pastures. And I have a story too, but he carries a gun. No, I said, you know, someday you're going to be sheriff. He goes, yeah, I'm going to fire some people. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a sad day that he's leaving, but I'm glad he's getting a promotion. The thing that gets me, Deputy, you told me you were going to leave here and be closer to home, cut down on the drive. You're only 6 miles closer than you was. But now we're happy that he's getting the promotion and he's done a good job, and we're going to miss him. Thank you.
So I have a few stories, but my wife is really going to miss you. You were her favorite deputy. You helped her get out of the car one time when I was busy. So I really appreciate it. And as someone who got the privilege of working for the Sheriff's Department and had 2 stints inside SIB, I know the kind of job as an investigator, you're going to do awesome. And as a supervisor when I was there, part of the thing we did is, Mr. Robertson, come on up here. I have a challenge coin for you. It says Riverside Sheriff's Department Special Investigations Unit on there that we had made back in 2011 or 10 when I was there. So I'm giving it to you because I really appreciate everything you've done for the city of Norco, plus everything you've done for the residents here and all your friendships, sir. And keep us proud.
I'm going to miss our early morning trips to the riverbed. Okay, so this is the City of Norco hereby recognizes Deputy Darrell Robertson for proudly serving the City of Norco and surrounding communities for 5 years, consistently advocating for the City of Norco and ensuring the community has the resources required to keep residents, animals, and property safe. So congratulations and well wishes for your new assignment. Picture then. All right, we'll take a quick picture. You have to come in front of the podium. You've been here before, you know the drill. From the back corner.
It's a little different.
Congratulations, brother.
All right, so we are going to move back to the regular agenda. So at this time, we have a proclamation for Mental Health Month. Is Maria here? Okay, so then I'm just going to read it from right here. So a proclamation, whereas mental illness can affect anyone regardless of age, background, employment, education, and income level, with those who are very young and seniors among the most vulnerable. And whereas the National Alliance on Mental Illness reports that 1 in 5 American adults experiences mental illness in a given year. 1 in 5 youth, aged 13 to 18, experiences a severe mental disorder at some point during their life. And more than 2 million Americans aged 65 and older experience some form of depression. And whereas there are treatments, services, and community support systems that are helping many with mental health conditions recover and be able to move forward to lead rich, fulfilling, and productive lives. And whereas friends, family, and community members play an important role in extending understanding and compassion about mental health and in promoting the wellness and recovery of people living with mental illness. And whereas public education and civic activities can encourage mental health, promote the wellness and recovery of those with mental health conditions, and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now, therefore, I, Robin Grunmeyer, Mayor of the City of Norco, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2019 as Mental Health Month and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in the City of Norco to recommit our community to increase awareness and understanding of mental health, expand the dialogue about the steps our citizens can take to promote mental health and wellness, and foster an understanding about the need for appropriate and accessible services for the mental health needs of all people. And with that, we will move on to our presentation, which is the Norco Youth Advisory Council 2018-2019 Program Update.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. My name is Michael Young. This is my third and final year serving on the Norco Youth Advisory Council. It's also my second year as the chair. I've enjoyed my participation in the council and serving the youth of our community. We're here tonight to present our annual year-end report for the term year 2018-2019. We began our year with a tour of city parks and facilities provided by Mr. Petrie, Deputy City Manager and Director of Parks and Recreation. Mr. Petrie shared with us a brief history of the locations we visited, which included the George Ingalls Equestrian Event Center and Veteran Memorial, the Community Center, Riley Gym and Park, and a look at the north portion of Lake Norconian Resort via the Wayne Macon and the Shear Sports Complex driveway. This tour provided an extensive overview of what the city has to offer for use by its citizens, including event locations for the youth of Norco.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Logan, and as a second-year member of the Norco Youth Advisory Council, I was able to share some background information on topics from last year's term with our new members, which included planning the Youth in Government Day and the Emergency Preparedness Training scheduled for this weekend. Discussions also began on planning a youth event or project, which could be geared towards preteens and teens of our community. Details will be shared with you by Member Brown. Our year began with volunteering during the annual wheelchair event in October, assisting with the timing with each exciting game. We also prepared for the Horsetown USA Parade of Lights. which our group wished to participate in this year to present our message, Youth Committed to Community Service. We enjoyed the experience. Thank you to the parade committee for allowing us to participate.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Fong. I was one of the 2 Youth Advisory Council members who assisted in the Youth and Government Day event. This event gives the opportunity for high school students to experience a day in local government by shadowing a representative or a staff member. This year's event was held on March 11th, and a total of 15 students attended from Norco High School and John F. Kennedy Middle High School. There was much debate regarding the old library building during the mock city council meeting, which ended a very successful event. The Norco Youth Advisory Council would like to thank the administrative staff for their assistance in the preparations and the executive staff for sharing their knowledge and time with their appointed student counterpart. We would also like to thank Mayor Grunmeyer and council members Bash, Hoffman, and Newton for spending the day with us to share their experiences with appointed student council members. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Blake Torres. I've enjoyed serving on the Norco Youth Advisory Council. Volunteering is a big portion of what we advocate for. Some of the events we have participated in include the Unload Town Hall held at Nellie Weaver Hall on March 14th. This gave us the opportunity to share our experience with many of our peers in the community and reach out for potential applicants for our next term, 2019-2020. It was also a privilege to assist with the State of the City on March 21st. This was yet another opportunity to meet the community and to learn more about the city we live and attend school in. Transitioning, a few of us helped with the Easter egg hunt a couple of weeks ago. We had a lot of fun helping the kids with games, arts, and crafts.
Good evening. My name is Izzy Henriksen. I am also serving a second year on the Advisory Council. This year I had the honor of serving as secretary. Due to a successful event last year, I am pleased to share that we are continuing the emergency preparedness training for the community's youth. It is scheduled this Saturday, May 4th at the Community Center. This particular training is geared towards kids between the ages of 12 and 18. The program was developed as a result of the multiple tragedies that have occurred over the years since the Sandy Hook tragedy in 2012. It provides basic training in bleeding control principles so that the immediate attention can be provided prior to the arrival of the first responders, who would then take over the care of the injured. The training will again be led by CAL FIRE Riverside County Norco Station Captain Don Camp and his crew. We extend our appreciation to Captain Camp for his continued support of this program for the youth of Norco.
Good evening, Mayor Grunmeyer and Council. My name is Kyle Brown. This year's Norco Youth Advisory Council wanted to create an event or project geared to the preteens and the teens of Norco and the surrounding area. Our main goal would be to bring together the teens of Norco and the surrounding area with a fun event that we could all enjoy, and to also raise money for the various high school clubs in our area. Among the suggestions provided, my favorite was an amateur ATV/dirt bike race or other competitive type of venture. After a few discussions with the Parks and Recreation staff, primarily for guidance on the needs and requirements of holding a special event, a competition type of event was quickly changed to an exhibition event idea with fun games and food. Although the entire scope of the event is still a work in progress, the Advisory Council has temporarily named it Flips and Fun Youth Fair. At this time, we are working on raising funds. As mentioned, the plan is to invite local high school clubs to join in and have a booth at the event to sell food, beverages, or crafts and games, providing each the opportunity to do a fundraiser for their individual club. Some of the features suggested included bubble ball, rock climbing wall, dirt bike demonstration, and presentation displays by our local sheriff's department, fire department, and the military.
Good evening again. On behalf of Chair Young and all the members of the Norco Youth Advisory Council, I would like to thank you, Mayor Grunmeyer, and the City Council for the opportunity to serve on this year's Norco Youth Advisory Council. It has been an honor and a learning experience for, I'm sure, all of us. I'm happy to share that 4 of our current members are planning on reapplying for consideration to serve for another term next school year. Thank you and good night.
Thank you all for coming and giving a report. Do any of the council members have any questions or comments for the students?
You guys keep up the good work, stay involved. You're special.
I agree. What's with the Centennial Husky sweatshirt?
I go to school out there for the IB program, but I'm a Norco resident.
Yeah, I know, but you have a lot of courage, wearing that here.
Well, we are in the Corona Norco
Yeah,
Unified
I
School
know,
District.
but do you have a football team that we don't like very much around here?
Yeah, I'm not really affiliated.
But, the good news is the wrestling coach and the football coach are both Norco High graduates, so we'll cut you a pass. And I'll pretend that's a cougar in the middle of that.
Okay, thank you.
I want to congratulate you on everything you guys did this year. Where's Diane? Oh, there you are, hiding. Do you want a picture of all the kids there in front of us, or do you have enough? What about my other council members? That's why they're here. We got to take care of it.
Okay.
Just a sec.
All right, Maria, do you want to come up and we'll present the proclamation real quick? So we did all the whereases already. So on the behalf of the City Council and the City of Norco, we would like to declare May 2019 as Mental Health Month. So there you go. Congratulations. Thank you. Do you want to say a few things?
Thank you so much. My name is Rosa Jimenez, and I'm a mental health advocate for adults. And I'm here on behalf of Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health, formerly Riverside County Department of Mental Health. We will be having an event on May 23rd, Thursday, from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. at Fairmount Park. We have it every year for mental health awareness. And we will have also pets for therapy for the children, little horses, dogs, and it'll be lots of fun. And also events for senior citizens, teenagers. We also have transitional age youth, which is ages 16 to 26, and also people with substance abuse problems and mental health problems. I would like to thank the mayor and the city of Norco for participating in our May is Mental Health Month event by presenting us with this proclamation. We appreciate your support of the County of Riverside's continued efforts to raise mental health and substance abuse awareness within the county. As you know, this is a big problem, and we just can't keep ignoring it. It affects children, middle schools, bullying and all that. We're trying to assist with that, help with all that. This proclamation will be on display at our upcoming May's Mental Health Month Wellness and Resource Fair The fair is a free event. We will also have free food, hot dogs, chips, ice cream, popcorn. And I would like to invite everyone to join us in celebrating May's Mental Health Month event. The fair, the location is at 2601 Fairmount Boulevard in Riverside. I did bring many flyers. Green is our mental health color, mental health awareness, and one side is English, the back side is in Spanish. And I would like to distribute these event flyers and ask you that the extra flyers be distributed among the community. Once again, we thank you and look forward to seeing everyone at the fair. Thank you so much for your support. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to agenda item number 1, which is City Council communications and reports on regional boards and commissions. So we will start with Councilman Hanna. Or Mayor Pro Tem Hanna, sorry.
I'll forgive you.
Thank you.
Wasn't a whole lot going on this last time with the commissions. Some of the things I did was worked up there Saturday with Public Works Director Chad. We had admitted all the people bringing stuff in to the big dump day, which turned out to be a big day. And then Sunday I attended the grand reopening of the No Drama Ranch over on Pedley, and quite a deal. They've rearranged their place in the last year, and they've got a lift now that will take people out of their wheelchairs, and they can turn it and put them on a horse, or they can take them off. So it's a big deal for the staff over there. And NART, the week before, we participated in a combined rescue training with the Orange County Fire Authority large animal rescue team. It was quite a deal. Basically, they use the same methods we do. We traded ideas on a couple of things and worked out. One other thing I attended was last night. I attended the pizza and donut in the park with the sheriff's department. The fire chief provided the donuts because he thought the cops were hungry up there, and everything. And RCTC, if you hadn't noticed, is widening them and Caltrans are widening the ramp at 2nd Street, the off ramp northbound. It's going to be 3 lanes, 2 left and 1 right, so that'll be a big plus when they get that done. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Hoffman?
Yeah, thank you. Well, as after the last council, went to a lot of things, kept myself busy with city functions and closing out Horse Week. But Matt, if you flip the other page there, along with the Day of the Cowboy, which is in Mayor's Saturday, July 27th, or did I put 28th? I think it's July 27th. But anyway, keep going, one more. If you want to skip the last thing we did was on the college and their workshop number 4 around the projected and proposed building along, just hang on to that one, I'll get that, is, I was going to say something about it, but I think May 15th, Andy, President Reese is going to be here and discuss that. So I will wait until then on that whole project. But what I want to talk about is on the wastewater, the Riverside County Regional Wastewater Authority, and the board budget presentation. If you can pick that up, Matt. And that was given to us the other day, and we'll skip to the next page. And these are the budget highlights. And it cost us money to get rid of our people waste, our human waste. And just to give you an idea, overall, the year-to-year budget decreased by 6.1%. That's a good thing, okay? But increases were in labor, chemicals, and insurance, decreases in facility maintenance, solids, disposal, permits, and fees, outside services, and legal costs. The fixed rates increased from 0.1% and variable rates decreased 6.6%. That's a good thing. The annual debt service for the plant, and that was all the expansion and things has decreased $10,000 from the prior year's estimate. And unfortunately, we have an overall increase in non-replacement capital improvement funds. So flip to the next slide there. Just give you an idea how that plant, what it costs to operate it. It's $8.4 million for fiscal year on the operating budget for 2019, 2020. And if you look at that big blue, well, it's purple up there, the treatment plant, it cost us over $6.7 million. That's 80% of the budget to run that plant. And let's look right here. And now we're going to figure what it's going to cost Norco. As part of the JPA there, our anticipated rates, the capacity rates and contribution, our fixed rate, it's going to cost us $976,655, and then our variable rate is an additional $8,113,691. Those are for the two. You combine that. That's our rates, our capacity, and our contribution. So it's not cheap. Again, I said to what it's costing Norconians, and that's our deal. Now, tagged on that, and hit the next page, is our debt service. The city of Norco, for part of the debt, is we take 9.1% of the debt service for the operation and the capacity in the building of that project, which is over $407,000 for the year for 2019-20. And skip to the next one. So what's the bottom line it's going to cost us? In 2018-19 year, our cost was over $3.2 million. For the 2019-20 budget, our anticipated cost is $3.5 million plus. So we're going to look at a $271,000 increase overall for the cost of handling and operating the wastewater plant, waste treatment plant. So, and that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bash?
I attended a bunch of stuff. Interesting. Were you able to do the, one of the things I also attended that maybe the mayor will talk about is I was in a meeting with the Norco College president and the Navy, and we got some very interesting information about the photonics. I thought probably premature to talk about it right now. Andy was also there. And maybe when the president's here, we'll ask him some of those questions. What I want to talk about specifically today, though, was, as you all know, we worked very, very hard over time to expand the Norconian Historic District to include the Navy base. It's the last standing World War II naval hospital in existence. And what we ran into is that in the old days, if you felt that a federal agency was purposely blocking your nomination with misinformation, or they were obstructing by lack of action, you could go to the keeper of the register. The keeper of the register is, for the National Register, was the #1 person. Well, what happened in about 4 years ago was they began to interpret it that the federal agency was the be-all, end-all. They could literally say, you know, even if the keeper of register finds in favor of a resident, an American citizen, trying to put something on the National Register, they could stop it. Well, we've been fighting this kind of behind the scenes, particularly Bill Wilkman, and we've been working with the former keeper of the register who refused to go along with this. He is now the SHPO, State Historic Preservation Officer of Rhode Island. So we've been trying to navigate this and actually have developed quite a nice relationship with the California keeper of the register. Well, what we didn't realize is that they're trying to make this a law. in which a federal agency can block any nomination to the National Register, i.e. that would obviously indicate the Navy base. The people that are behind this are like armed services, mining industries, people that want to do things to certain properties. And what's really interesting is they're also trying to nix Native Americans. And so every preservation agency in the nation is up in arms about this. And I don't know if I'd want to take on the Native Americans, because they're talking about not only their tribal lands, they're also talking about a federal agency saying, well, this particular photograph, I believe that's like one of the first city halls or George Washington, some special house, that literally it's on federal land. They could say, we don't want to keep it up anymore, we want it off the National Register. Now, the National Register doesn't necessarily mean something is totally protected, but what it does is it puts in place a process in which you get to comment, and you can hopefully politically influence to protect a property. I've been on the winning side of a lot of these battles, and I've been on the losing side of a lot of these battles. Currently with the Navy base, we're really lucky because local command has decided that they're going to be protecting and preserving and maintaining the architectural integrity of some historic buildings. They've done 3 of them now. Actually, they're in the process of 1. They've done 2. So after 10 years of beating their head against the wall, it's kind of like they're kind of on board. But this, if this passes, you will see federal historic landmarks literally just being decimated. There'll be nothing to stop the people. What's most upsetting about this is the National Historic Act of 1966. The entire purpose was so that a resident, an American, could say, I think that's important, and would have the power to save it. If this passes, and I'm hoping it won't, they literally strip that ability away from you. I'll be very candid. We spent 10 years simply trying to get naval historians far away to tell the truth. They finally did. We finally beat them where it counted in front of the Historic Preservation Commission for the state of California. The Navy in Washington has now just sat on this, and it's a common tactic. If this passes, that tactic will become law. So I just want to kind of make everybody kind of aware of what we're up to. Little Norco is so linked to all these preservation groups, and people can't believe that we're doing the stuff we're doing. The lawsuit in terms of the Norconian, and the head of these preservation agencies actually take my call, which is not wise. But anyway, it's fun if we win. When you lose, it's like they just cut your throat. And that's all I have. Oh, one more thing, I'm very sorry. On May 11th, there's 2 events. One is going to be a veterans car show at Norco College, but at the same time, our Norco American Legion will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the American Legion. That's May 11th. It'll be an all-day event. They have asked if all the council people could maybe be there at 10 o'clock for opening ceremonies, and if nothing else, maybe be there for some of the things that they'll be doing all day. And I think that, Cheryl, I sent this to you, and hopefully Cheryl will get this flyer out to you. They also asked, are they already up here? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And they, I thought I brought this one. And they also asked to put their announcement of this up on the 6th Street sign. And thank you, Andy, for approving that. I really appreciate it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Newton.
Should be no report. Tomorrow I have a CDA board meeting, and so I'll have a report from that board at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing I'll speak on very briefly is I did go to Sacramento last Wednesday for the Legislative Action Day with California League of Cities. And we went to probably 5 or 6 offices. There was a small contingency of us, a council member from Moreno Valley, council member from Hemet, council member from Canyon Lake, myself, and then Aaron from the League of Cities. Oh, and the councilman or mayor from Lake Elsinore was there as well, and went to speak very briefly with legislative members. Many of them voice the fact that there are several pieces of legislation that are kind of far out or far-fetched being proposed this session. From my personal perspective on the issues in Sacramento, there are a lot of committees these pieces of legislation still have to go through, a lot of deals and discussions that still have to take place. So my kind of thought on it is that we just pay attention to what's going on, follow what's going on, give our input when it's asked for or when it's appropriate, and follow the legislative process. I think it's also important to understand that many of the assembly members and senators' frame of perspective is simply where they've come from and what they know. And so, for example, Senator Wiener, he's from the Bay Area. He's from San Francisco. He's done most of his legislative work in San Francisco, moving up through city council and various legislative positions. And so his frame of reference and his perspective is that of the Bay Area. And if you've only been in the Bay Area, someplace like Norco might as well be a foreign country. There's just not a perspective or a frame of reference for how legislative ideas that are fruited and developed in San Francisco, how those would impact or implicate small communities like Norco. And so I think giving input, having those discussions, he seemed to be open to taking that and sharing our information with those people is the best thing that we can probably do to at least give some perspective on those things. So I just feel like having a seat at the table, working with League of Cities, following through on things is obviously probably the most beneficial and least adversarial at this time. So Sacramento is just crazy busy and a lot of stuff going on, and they were having two big hearings, one for the vaccination law and then one for charter schools. So like when we were up there on Wednesday, you could hardly walk through the hall single file. It was crazy, crazy busy. So when you're popping into somebody's office for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you could get, you know, you're hoping that the staff is taking notes while you're talking to the assembly member or the senator, and then you have to do follow-ups. So interesting perspective going up there for the day, and I'm sure this council will keep up on bills that could either positively or negatively impact our community and keep everybody informed. So that's all that I have to report on that at this time. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 2, which is our city council consent items. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Prior to the motion to consider any action by the council, any public comments on any of the consent items will be heard. There will be no separate action unless members of the council or the audience request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar. Items removed from the consent calendar will be separately considered under item number 3 on the agenda. So with that, are there any items that council members wish to be pulled? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve all items on the consent calendar.
Please vote on this item. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so with that, we will proceed to item number 4, which is public comments. This is a time when people in the audience wishing to address the city council regarding matters not on the agenda may speak. Please complete the speaker card in the back of the room and present it to the city clerk so that you may be recognized. The Ralph M. Brown Act limits the city council's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at the time such comments are made. The city council shall not discuss or take action relative to any general public comment.
Bonnie Slager.
Good evening. Yesterday I was at the meeting at Norco College, as Ted was, and a lot of things, which is my opinion. But the one thing I wanted to share with you as we were walking around, and Susan Olmsted Bowen was with me, they were talking about their wonderful veterans things and so on. And I said, well, you know, we have a lot of things for veterans here in the city. And they kind of gave me the blank stare. And I said, so have you been to our Veterans Memorial? No. Where is that? The end of 6th Street, where Inglesburg. Where is that? So it sort of seems to me that somebody, maybe Brian can get the fun bus and load up a bunch of those people and haul them up to see the Veterans Memorial and some of the things that we have in this city. I think it's very sad that it's a community college that these people were so uninformed about that aspect of our community. Thank you.
Mary, that concludes public comments.
Okay, thank you. So we are going to move into our public hearings for this evening. The order of public hearings is as follows. Number one, we'll have the staff report presentation. We will proceed into council questions of staff. We will open the public hearing and we'll have comments by the applicant, public speakers in favor, against, and neutral, applicant response to the comments, questions of the applicant. We'll close that public hearing and then it will come back to the council for discussion and action. So our first item on the agenda under public hearings is a rate adjustment proposed by Waste Management of the Inland Empire. And for that report, we have Gina.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. In front of you, we have a request to adopt Resolution 2019-15, approving cost of living adjustments by Waste Management of the Inland Empire for fiscal year 1920. The existing 10-year franchise agreement provides that Waste Management is entitled to receive rate adjustments for inflation based on the Consumer Price Index and pass-through disposal cost increases. This proposed rate adjustment includes an increase of 3.05%, representing the annual CPI for 2018. The pass-through disposal costs are as follows, and then Glenda will get into more detail on them. Solid waste disposal costs for Riverside County tipping fee increased by 3.05%. And the solid waste disposal component of that rate increase is from $39.31 to $40.51 per ton. Regarding the green waste disposal cost portion, fees increased by 19.36%. The green waste disposal component of the rates will increase from $37.70 to $45 per ton. The $37.70 rates, $37.70 rate for 1819 was approved by City Council May 2nd last year. And as of January 1st, 2019, green waste disposal costs increased to $42.40 per ton, and the difference has been paid by Waste Management since January 1st. As of July 1st, this coming July 1st, 2019, the rate will increase again to $45 per ton. The $45 per ton has been used to calculate the rate structure proposed. The manure disposal component of the rates will increase from $22 to $22.75 per ton. This translates into an overall manure cart rate increase of $1.09 and manure bin rate increase of $3.95. And there are several proposed service offering rates by Waste Management. I'll briefly go through those. For a 64-gallon organics waste, an extra pickup will cost $10.93. This is, again, new offerings. This rate is needed to bill for extra pickup service requests. Regarding a 2-yard organics waste extra pickup, a charge of $61.15. This rate is needed to bill for extra pickup service requests for an organic 2-yard. An extra bag pickup rate, $3.90, which basically means you have an extra bag outside of your trash can. That'll be $3.90 to pick up that extra bag. For commercial recycle cart service, 96-gallon recycle cart, 1 time per week service, it's being added, and that'll be $20.84. Currently, the rate sheet has a commercial cart service for 2 64-gallon carts per week. However, commercial recycle cart service rate is needed to respond to AB 341. And an additional two more rates. Residential return for service, it will be $3.90. And this fee is charged when a cart is not out for service after confirmed 3 incidents per quarter per cart service. And then finally, a cart delivery fee, $8, and this will be applied to additional cart deliveries, 1 fee per trip. So if there's several carts in one trip, it'll be $8. Again, those are proposed offerings, and Glenda is here to go into detail if I've missed anything.
Thank you, you did a great job.
Any questions you may have?
So, as you know, it's that time of the year where we come to you and present to you the increases that we have been incurring and that will be taking place as of July 1st of this year. Like Gina said, there are rates that are given to us as increase of costs for per ton processing. So we're just here to ask that you consider this and also adopt it so that it could be quantified in the July 1st, 2019 residential rate and also the commercial rates as well. As far as the new rates, when we initially introduced organic rates, it was a very new project for us, and we know that some of our customers are requesting additional pickups. So say, for example, they have a busy weekend and their bin is full, or they're going to have a busy weekend, so they asked for an extra pickup, so we don't have those rates in our rate sheet to charge for that service. So it's not something that we're going to be automatically charging. It's based on the customer's request. So as you know, if there is no rate on the rate sheet, we really can't charge anything for that service. So we just want to ensure that we have the ability to, service the customer and at the same time provide a cost associated to that service. In regards to the extra pickup rate, so we do know that we have bulky item pickups, and some of our customers do take advantage of that. But once you meet that, once you've met those, then we have customers who, for example, might have a party or something, and they have a lot of bags of trash. It's just us allowing us to provide that service and providing a rate for it as well. In regards to the commercial recycling cart, as you know, CalRecycle has been putting every city under the microscope, so we want to make sure that we have an identified commercial recycling rate, especially for those customers who fall under the threshold but who are not allowed due to space constraints or to volume. They'd rather have a cart, commercial residential cart. The reason why it's at a higher cost is because we are actually taking a residential truck to a commercial area where we don't normally service carts. So we do it on a case-by-case basis. So we just want to make sure that we are able to demonstrate to CalRecycle that we have this rate and that we are able to make these customers compliant by placing a cart versus a bin. Hopefully with that, we'll see an increase in participation. And then the residential return for service, it's just, we do have GPS, and we could quantify if our driver was there, and so it's just for those repeat offenders who might say, oh well, I did place my cart out, and we have proof that it's happened quite a bit. It's just that after 3 incidents per quarter, we're able to charge okay, we're going back, especially when we service the city of Norco on a Monday. It makes it difficult to come back from another area, but obviously when it's our fault, we do it free of charge. But when we're able to identify a repeat offender or someone who is kind of abusing the system, we're able to have a rate to apply to that. And obviously, we would work with city billing to demonstrate and prove that that is indeed the case since the city does do the billing. And then the cart delivery fee, when you sign up for service, when you're a new customer, there is a setup fee which covers the delivery of the 3 carts, but there's nothing in addition to that if a customer were to want more carts. Currently, we're just dropping them off, but we're asking for a delivery fee for the 1 trip charge, whether it be 1 or 3 or as many. It's just the 1 trip fee. So if you have any questions.
Does council have any questions? Councilman Hoffman?
Good evening, Glenda. I do have, and I guess it's a theme that goes through on some of the rate increases, and we talked about this before, contamination. Is that a driving force and across on waste management and scene? I mean, you know, not too many other cities have the manure recycled, but Vermont is up their costs because of contamination. Agrimin is.
It's a combination of both. I know that the last year when I did come to you, we saw an unusual increase from Viramontes because of the fact that contamination was becoming an issue. So that was the larger, rate increase that they proposed, that they gave us. This year, it's a combination of contamination, and it's also, with contamination comes labor costs. So they have to hire additional staff, and, they have to process the material differently.
And I understand it. And what I'm getting at here is this something you're seeing in your other cities too? This contamination factor? It's just not Norco.
No, it's not just Norco. It's applied to our other cities. So, for example, Chino, all of other cities that we utilize Viramontes for, they are incurring the same costs.
Okay, so as other clients or cities develop something, I mean, all it does is cost people more because they're not adhering to the rules. Is there something that Waste Management has developed, or what are other cities doing to combat the contamination? Because it's costing us money.
Yeah. So as you all know, we've been doing an active campaigning on recycling and contamination. So in meeting with Viramontes, we have taken a lot of pictures of contaminated loads, and we will be launching a contamination education campaign specifically for green waste, and it would be applied through Facebook on all our social media platforms that we service out of the Corona hauling station. For example, one of the items that they complain about is also bags. I don't know if you noticed, but in the community cleanup before, we would just put, bagged green waste is okay, but finding out from the contamination conversations that we've been having with Viramontes, it's like they want it loose just as we want our recyclables loose as well. Because what's happening is, their staff is getting poked with things, and if it's contaminated, they can't easily sell it. They can't sell it as bagged product like for Home Depot or Lowe's. So they're really trying to put a hold on the contamination, but it is going to take us and our customers to do their part in making sure that they produce good green waste. And we understand that we are the voice of Viramontes, so we have to make sure that we provide that educational material through social media, through the city website, just making sure that we are getting the message across that it's not only contamination of recyclables, it's also contamination of our green waste, which get recycled to produce, mulch and compost.
I don't want us to become trash police, but somewhere along the line, I mean, to get these costs down, to keep them down, is there any of the other cities have developed penalties or fines for that? It's going to be very difficult to enforce.
The issue is that we do have contamination charges for commercial, because in commercial, our commercials drivers have to actually physically go and get the bin, and so they see it and they're able to see if it's contaminated or not. However, in residential, it's a little bit more challenging because we do have the automated service. So what we are going to be doing with Viramontes is that we're going to be doing quarterly waste audits so that we can see what areas we need to perhaps tag more and provide that knowledge, hey, your green waste is contaminated, this is why we didn't pick it up. So we're trying to understand what we're facing, because once it gets in the truck and it gets loaded, it's hard to see where it's coming from and stuff. But with Norco being serviced on one day, on Mondays, it's easier for us to make those assessments.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Newton.
Hi, Glenda.
Hi.
Let me first say, you do a tremendous job for us. I mean, when there's a problem, you handle it just great.
Thank you.
And I'll never think different of that. So, I'm probably a little disappointed that your management team sent you up here all alone. So you're the messenger. You're getting take a little bit of the shots. I guess I kind of feel like we're painted in a corner on this, and there's no way to go, and it frustrates me because it seems like there's no way out. So we have cost of living increase. This is the same letter we've seen from Viramontes and the Green Waste waste site, and all it does is change the date and it changes the amounts, and it's just general statements that the cost of living, fuel, oil. I'd like to know what kind of steel Viramontes is buying, other than it's the great excuse like, oh, there's tariffs on steel, so let's put that into the story. But there's no backup. It's just the same generic, this is why things are going up, but there's no backup to show me what these costs are. Viramontes is a little different because, once again, we don't have many other options. So it's just kind of, we're forced into taking whatever they feel the increase is. And they just, there's no way to say, how do you make that story? How do you sell that story that we have contamination? Okay, sure you do, but what's the tonnage? How much do you see per week or per month or whatever? And does Waste Management go back and do you fight for us on this? And say, show me instead of tell me.
Obviously, we are partners with them, and like you said, there are, as much as it is a cost, it keeps increasing, we do believe that it is the cheapest cost for us right now. So, for example, when we, like you, are being told that they're increasing costs because of contamination, we take that as, okay, well, we need to help to get rid of that so that there isn't additional increases. And so that was our commitment with them in the last conversations we had with them, is that we understand contamination is an issue, but we want to, like you said, see it, assess it, so that we can reduce it and perhaps eliminate it, because I believe that everyone wants to recycle their manure or their green waste, but they just want to make sure that they know how to do it in the right way, so that way we can see these costs not increasing every year.
Yeah, I get that, but I guess in a sense you're saying, but we don't know the magnitude of the contamination today, like in tonnage-wise.
Like I said, we're going to be starting quarterly waste assessments, so I would be able to provide you that in a quarterly basis moving forward. Okay. So that way we have an understanding of the volume and, like you said, the percentage of contamination, so that we can continue to monitor it and see if it is declining or at least stabilizing. The goal is to obviously fix the issue, not make it worse.
Okay, so we're taking them at the word that there is X amount of contaminants, and I'm going to raise your price, even though I don't have to tell you what X amount is today.
Yeah, so what we obviously, in addition to being charged the tonnage for the manure, or we also get dinged on the trash. So if there is a lot of trash, they take that to us and we pay for it. Waste Management does. So they're basically just charging us for the processing of the contamination.
So probably just the same story again for our green waste. Mm-hmm. It's the same reasoning, a different date, and $6 more a ton to dump our green waste with the same reasons and no backup to it. It's just, I want $6 more a ton. So that's where I feel like we have nowhere to go, and I'm painted into a corner with this. With the landfill, okay, so the county's going to raise their tipping fee, but Waste Management owns the landfill. So I think that, and I may be wrong on this, but the dynamics of that operator and owner, the county raises their tipping fee. You guys are getting a spiff on that county fee also, because you're the owner of the landfill.
I don't know how, I mean, I obviously
Don't
I
you
know the
get more
process,
as
but I
that-
don't,
As that operating cost goes up, doesn't the landfill make more money?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't cover the landfill, but I can get the information. I'm assuming it's also based on the costs associated to operate. So I don't know if there is a increase or it's just to make us even. But I honestly don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I'll give you that one then.
Yeah, I don't cover the landfill.
All right. Okay. So, and then I think just generally is that, I look about and say, okay, I want a little over 3% cost of living, but do all our residents get a cost of living increase, whether it's, in their pensions and Social Security or, in their regular jobs? And I know we have to use certain basis for that amount. But at the same time, when I see these letters, well, because of inflation. Well, inflation's really low right now, okay? So don't tell me my costs are going up because of inflation. And, if you put money in a certificate of deposit, you're getting 2%. How do I pay my bills if I'm making 2% on my money and you're charging me 3% a year? And so that's the frustration I feel with it. And that, I know what our contract says. I just feel that, I have nowhere to go. I'm in the corner, and it won't do any good, but I'm not going to support the increase.
Okay.
But you do a great job for us, okay? I want you to always know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? I do have a couple questions, Glenda, for you. I remember the discussion last year, and we talked about an outreach for contamination in the manure and in the green bins, and I feel like there's been no progress made on that. You had mentioned in your report that there was going to be, what's the timeline on that? Are we looking at 6 months? Are we looking at 12 months? Because every year we go by and we don't try and do some outreach, we're just going to see those costs keep going up. So
we have done, we've done campaigns last year for both recyclables, for both residential and businesses, and also green waste. I actually was the YouTuber on it. But obviously the increase of probably visibility, what happens to, we just need to make sure that we convey the message in a way that people just grab it. So I did meet with our marketing manager, and the ad is ready to go. We're doing just a simple video, like a simple slide, and then we'll see how that does, and we'll continue to do it because I don't know, for us especially, I know that I did talk to the committee before having this day scheduled, but I did present how we are being impacted by National Sword, which is hitting our recyclables. Contamination is extremely high. When you look at the recyclables that we collect, you can't really tell which one is the trash and which one is the recyclables. And with China being our number one buyer since forever, they're being very strict on what they accept, and they want 0.5 contamination free. So contamination has been the message that we've had since 2017, but clearly we need to do more, and I think that by partnering with the city and making sure that those videos get shared and get questions being answered. We do have a person who does all our outreach. Her name is Lisette Hartman. She's our recycling coordinator, and so her information is on our material so that people could contact her in getting education pieces or just waste assessments so that we can get a hold of this problem. So we did do some, but we do need to do more. And I think, like I said, the problem is that when we do service residentials, customers, we don't know what, it would take us forever to open the cart and tag it. So we're trying to assess the better way of making sure that we are targeting those customers that need that education. Because I do believe that once you know how and what you're supposed to do, people will change their behavior.
Right. And so I'm guessing that there needs to be better communication between Waste Management and the city, because the city, in my opinion, has done a really good job about getting information out to our residents through email blasts and the Norco newsroom and all these things. And I don't think those venues have been used efficiently by Waste Management to get the word out. And so I think having a better communication between the city and Waste Management is going to benefit the residents and our price.
Yeah.
Because, I don't check social media all the time, but I do check my emails when we get the blast from the city and that kind of stuff, and I don't recall seeing any of those things there. So just something that I agree with you. I think if people know, they want to do the right thing, and especially if it's going to impact them in the pocketbook. But my other comment to that would be is if you're going to take data on Norco and you're going to see what our contamination is, what all those things are, if there's an improvement, then we should see that improvement in our rates. And so I would request, like, as these negotiations are being made and you have this quarterly data saying, yes, we've seen a drop in contaminants or whatever, then that should be reflected in our rates.
And I think that
forward
that's
as
the
well.
way we would be able to have that conversation with Viramontes. So I understand what you're saying.
Okay, and then the last thing was the, in the staff report, it talked about the alternative disposal options. And I'm just going to be honest, I feel like that's just kind of throwing Norco a bone, like, hey, you guys have a lot of manure and someday we'll kind of figure something out. But it's been on the table forever, and I don't feel like anything's been done. So either we move forward and really look at it, or we just take it off the table and quit leaving it in the report because as a placeholder.
I think last year's conversation in regards to manure answered that question, that currently our partnership with Viramontes is the most cost-effective outlet for the manure. If not, you would see a substantially even more increase. So you would be from 22 to, say, 60 per ton.
Right.
So whether it be that we need to remove it from the staff report, we could work on that. But
yeah.
I think that when we talked to the committee, that was the main question, is give us the truth about our manure. Are we able to get more money somewhere else? But anything further, obviously, we are talking additional costs.
Right, because it just mentions like the technological advances for post-collection and all that kind of stuff. And when was the last time that subcommittee met?
Last month.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I personally, not being on the subcommittee and not hearing information, I look at that and
I think that, if you want, I think that I could share the presentation that I gave the subcommittee and also include some of the Viramontes information now that we have some of the pictures and stuff. I can make it at a council meeting if that will make, the information available to you and to residents and who can't be here, at least they'll be able to see it online.
I think that would be tremendously helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from council?
You said you did a YouTube video of...
Yes, I did.
Can you do me a favor? Can you send it to me?
Yeah.
Because the recycling is a total mystery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do include all the links to our videos and our quarterly reports so that they can be accessed and placed. There are a lot, so we have to kind of weed them out. But I'll work with Chad and Kelly and everyone to get them out there.
If you'd send that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that I'm putting bags where I'm not supposed to.
You know what, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else because I didn't realize until I saw the YouTube video. And actually if you saw that little triangle for the recycle, I just found out some of that stuff, they can't recycle. It's just things that we used to say we could, they can't. And that video will do that, and because we saw that at there. And Robin, to your question, when we talked about the digesters and the use and what to do with the manure, both Newton and I said on that thing and realized horse manure is just, it's already gone through the digester, the natural digester of a horse, and there is nothing left to use.
Yeah, there's not enough moisture in it to do
There's
anything.
not enough,
which
there's
I'm
not enough nutrient, it
aware
just
of,
doesn't
but-
break down anymore. So it's not like cow manure. If we had plenty of cows out here, we'd be in good shape, but, the sad part is we don't, so.
Right.
But
Well,
thank
and I understand that, but that's why I think we just need to flat out be honest. Like, it's not going to work. This is
No,
what we
you're-
need
I
to
agree
do
with you.
and
Yeah,
tell
I'm
the
sorry.
residents and be done with it instead of, saying there's stuff that exists that doesn't.
That presentation that you did for Councilman Newton and myself, it would be good to give that to Chad and the city manager of the council so that everybody else could see the same thing, what to do, the alternatives for the horse manure. It was quite, like I say, very informative anyway, so thank you.
Yeah, Councilman Newton.
Where do you take your recyclables?
They go to the transfer station at Burtec,
To Fontana or Aguamanza?
Alamanza.
Okay. So does Burtec talked about, how do they approach the contaminants in the recyclables?
To my knowledge, we are probably the leader in doing the outreach of contamination. I do know that we all kind of follow the same practices. We identify commercial customers who are contaminating, and we try to educate them on what is acceptable and what isn't. So we all pretty much are in the same boat when it comes to the recyclables right now, so they are actively educating, but I don't know at what level, because I really don't see much.
But they're not coming back and wanting to increase
No, we're covering that.
on the tip.
They haven't come and asked us.
So Burtec isn't
So
asking
we're
for
not, yeah,
additional
that's why it's not in, here. We cover that. So we are seeing increases, but we haven't received any information from them.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Glenda, for coming and giving the report. At this time, I will open the public hearing. So, are there any cards?
Yes, Mayor, I have one card. Bonnie Slager.
Hi, I guess I'm the audience tonight. When you talk about, and I appreciate you guys really questioning the increases, but you talk about, $8 a tipping ton and so on, but I have 11 horses, which is my fault. But anyway, to get the manure removed from my property every month costs me $200. And probably Kevin's the only one that pays more because he has more horses to get rid of the manure on. But it's already $200 just to get rid of the manure for my horses. So when you think about increases, it's not, 1%, 2%. I'm already spending $200. So, and as I say, I know it's my fault I have that many horses, but you also talk about that the manure is a big part of us meeting our recycling quota. So supporting us having the horses so we can meet our recycling quota is important as well. They talked, I didn't quite catch because I don't have the data, and Gina was reading off, and so was Glenda. Okay, if I have a trash can that the lid comes off because eventually, as you all know, the arm dumps the trash can and it comes back down and the lid goes flying, and I have to have a trash can replaced through wear and tear, or my manure dumpster, eventually the bottom of it gets bad because manure is really hard on the dumpster, and so when I have to have a replacement trash can or a replacement dumpster, am I going to have a fee then? They talked about some fees for bringing, but I was having trouble understanding. So when I need a replacement dumpster or a replacement trash can due to wear and tear, is there going to be a fee for them taking the old one and bringing me the new one? I'd like to know. No? Okay, thank you.
Any other cards?
That's all the cards on this item.
All right, thank you. I will close the public hearing. So it'll come back to the council for discussion and action.
Madam Mayor, I'll only say one thing pertaining to the $200 to get the manure off. As you know, I've always objected to the fact that we didn't spread the scout service out over the entire city of Norco. I believe that that one nail is responsible for the loss of thousands of horses in the city of Norco because people can't afford to get the manure off. I think that it should have traveled with the land. I totally get that, oh, you have a business, but you cannot pass it on. And the reality is it never should have happened that way. Otherwise, I'll support the, and unless somebody else wants to speak, I make a motion to adopt this.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2019-15.
Please vote on this item. The motion carries 4-1. Councilmember Newton voting no.
Okay, we are going to move on to item 5B, ordinance number 1050, first reading. And this will be the city clerk and our management analyst.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council. The Horstown USA trademark was registered with the United States Patent and Trademark Office on July 3, 2007, serving as a signature of a community branding effort initiated by the City Council. The intent of the trademark registration was to promote public awareness of the City of Norco, enhance economic development opportunities, and position Norco as a desirable Southern California tourist destination. Early in 2016, staff reviewed the current policy and tried to find ways to improve the policy. In fact, we, in the 2016 strategic plan adopted by the City Council, the staff strategic direction number 3, Action Plan 7, which calls for the expanded use of the Horstown USA logo to include royalties or a fixed annual fee. So at that point, in the last few years, we've been thinking about how to improve the program. In 2017, the City Clerk's Office renewed the Horstown USA trademark, and that renewal presented yet another opportunity to create a more structured trademark licensing program that would create value for the Horstown USA trademark, limit the city's liability, and ensure appropriate use of the trademark protected language and logo. So this proposed revised program that's before you tonight will be overseen by management analyst Kelly Newton at the direction of the city manager. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Newton to continue on with the program.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, I will present staff's recommendation to establish a formal trademark and licensing program. The recommended program serves as a foundation for promoting and protecting the use of the current Horstown USA trademarks, as well as any future city trademarks. The goal of the program is to ensure proper use and application of city trademarks while generating revenue that funds community promotion initiatives and programs. Since the official registration of the trademark in 2007, a variety of businesses and organizations have co-branded their products with the Horstown USA name and logo. However, no monetary value was ever implemented. Although the trademark has gained exposure, it has been used in a freewheeling, inconsistent manner, frequently resulting in inappropriate messaging that could present serious liability for the city. The trademark has rarely been properly labeled, and its casual use discounts the value of an officially registered trademark. Ultimately, the city must control and monitor the use of its trademarks in order to avoid loss or dilution in the marketplace and to fully protect the city's interests and reputation. So these are the city's current trademark variations. It's generally referred to as Horstown USA, but there's a few different ways to present this trademark. As you can see, someone can use the name only, and that has to be presented in this exact format, no additional punctuation, capitalization, and no changes at all. And then there's 4 different types of logos there, 2 full color, and then people can also use a 1 color logo.
So this program is strictly for these trademarks, and like I said, any future trademarks. And this does not include the city seal, as the seal is only used for official city business. In addition to these trademarks, any future trademarks will be subject to these policies and procedures. So now I will present the proposed licensing agreements. Any person, business, or organization desiring to use a city trademark in any manner and for any purpose must be licensed to do so through a license agreement before any products are manufactured, sold, distributed, or marketed. There are 6 types of licensing agreements to accommodate different needs. A one-time use license is for applicants that wish to use a city trademark on a custom-made product that may only be manufactured once for personal, non-commercial use and will not be resold. Examples of this type of license include a community organization or a resident that requests to order one flag that bears the Horsetown USA trademark, or a resident that wishes to order a custom cake with the trademark design, or a local business that requests to incorporate a trademark in a monument sign to show community pride, like the one photoed here. The one-time fee for this license is $25. The crafter license is for applicants that wish to use a city trademark on handmade items. This license is designed to provide small home-based entrepreneurs the opportunity to incorporate a trademark on unique items. A crafter may only sell these items to individual consumers via events, direct sales, or at a local Norco boutique, rather than wholesale or via a third-party retailer. Under a crafter license, anticipated sales may not exceed 100 units, or sales revenue may not exceed $2,500 in a contract year. Examples of this license include an artisan who carves the trademark on a wooden art piece and sells it at a craft fair or farmer's market, or a home-based baker who makes custom cookies with the trademark design. The annual fee for this license is proposed at $50. The local license is for production of emblematic merchandise to be sold strictly by a local individual or company located in the city of Norco. The license may also be applied to non-saleable items that are displayed or used for community pride or decor at local businesses. An example of this license includes a boutique located in Norco with a valid city business license that requests to mass produce the trademark on stickers and t-shirts to strictly sell in that Norco store. The annual fee for this license is dependent on the number of individual product types that are being licensed in the agreement and ranges from $50 to $200. The standard license is for production of emblematic merchandise to be resold through various retail distribution channels outside of the city of Norco, such as items for sale in local, regional, and national retail outlets. This license is intended for companies that are capable of extensive production and retail distribution of their products. An example of this license includes a retailer regardless of location, so that includes the city of Norco or outside of city limits, that requests to mass produce a trademark, such as on stickers or t-shirts, and sell the items across multiple distribution channels outside of the city of Norco. As the local license stated, the annual fee for this license is dependent on the number of individual product types being licensed. However, this license ranges from $500 to $2,000. The partnership license is for the use of city trademarks by a third party to promote or advertise that party's business in a way that directly implies association with the city of Norco. This license is granted to entities with official sponsorship relationships with the city and is limited to materials, events, and other community activities that are co-sponsored by the city through a legitimate agreement. Examples of this license include community organizations like Horse Week, the Norco Fair, and the Horsetown USA Hall of Fame, in which the city has a legitimate partnership agreement with. Under this license, organizations may use a trademark on their event or promotional items, such as tickets, programs, and banners, just to name a few. The annual fee for this license is $100, and it is not dependent on the number of products in which the organization is able to use a trademark on. However, like all other licenses, those uses must be pre-approved before an agreement is signed. And finally, the promotional license is for companies or manufacturers that wish to produce items bearing a city trademark to increase the sales of another product or service, increase a company's brand recognition and credibility, or further a company's association with the city without a formal partnership or sponsorship agreement. Promotional items are not commercial products, and they may not be directly sold for profit. Examples of this license include a retail or a realtor using a trademark on advertising and open house signage to bring attention to their service or listing, like you see here. A company vehicle, like a catering van, bearing a corporate logo and corporate information alongside a city trademark to bring attention to the company's service, or a retail product display design that bears a corporate logo and a city trademark to increase sales of that product. And you would see those in grocery stores and retail stores. The annual fee for this license is proposed at $300, and as well as not dependent on the number of products in which the company is able to use a trademark on. However, again, like every other licensee, they must obtain approval before manufacturing. Now onto the policies and procedures. So the city reserves the right to disapprove any use of its trademarks. The trademark usage policies are explained in Administrative Policy 108 and prohibit licensees from altering the trademarks, implying unauthorized endorsements, and using the trademarks on certain commercial products, just to name a few. And these are all sections that are outlined in that administrative policy. Now on to how to apply for a license. The process to obtain a license is separated into 3 phases. In phase 1, the applicant must submit a complete trademark license application, including a product information form for each requested product the applicant wishes to license. They must also provide a sample for review showing how the trademark would appear on the requested product if the application were in fact approved. And they must pay a non-refundable $25 application fee regardless of approval or denial. The city manager's office will thoroughly evaluate the application to either approve or deny the request. Upon approval, the city manager's office will determine the license type the applicant best qualifies under. In phase 2, applicants will be required to submit final product designs and provide proof of general liability insurance. And in phase 3, applicants will be required to review and sign the license agreement they have been approved for and pay the annual fee up front. The city will then deliver the approved trademark and an officially licensed City of Norco trademark product certificate to the licensee to display at their place of business or where they sell the product. So the city manager's office may extend the term of an agreement for 2 additional 1-year terms as long as there are no changes to the products, designs, materials, or distribution plans listed in the original application. The licensee must submit a new application each time, but they will not be required to pay the non-refundable application fee if, in fact, there are no changes. In regard to violations, the city is prepared to enforce trademark infringements in order to protect its assets. When the city is made aware of a possible infringement, the city manager's office will first issue a letter to the infringer requesting that they apply for a trademark license by a specific date. If there is no response, the office will issue a second letter explaining that the city reserves the right to pursue any and all legal remedies against infringement of its trademarks. And if there's still no response, the city attorney will issue a cease and desist letter to the infringer and may commence legal proceedings. So currently there are 15 active agreements on file for the use of city trademarks with the original administrative policy that was adopted in 2007. If the proposed trademark and licensing program that I've presented to you is approved, the city manager's office will issue letters to each of those users informing them of the new process effective July 1, 2019. The city will request that current users submit a new application before July 1st to determine what items they may continue producing and which license they would best qualify for. So it's evident that the City of Norco benefits from the public recognition of its trademarks, and if they are properly managed, these images provide a critical unifying look that establishes a visual presence. The look then becomes identified with the quality of the city's programs, products, and services, and distinguishes Norco from other municipalities and destinations, especially in Southern California. However, the city must control and monitor the use of its trademarks in order to guarantee its image is only connected to products and services it wishes to be identified with, prevent misleading and inaccurate representations of its brand, and assure products and services bearing a city trademark protect the integrity and the reputation of the city of Norco. So at this time, staff, including myself, the city clerk, the city manager, and the city attorney, are open for any questions you may have.
Does council have any questions? Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Hannah.
Yeah, good presentation, Kelly. Who's going to monitor the use of this after they buy their license?
The city manager's office, including myself and any additional staff members.
You go to the stores where they sell them and count their products, or what?
Not so much, because this isn't royalty-based, as a lot of other cities do. That would require a lot more strenuous accounting. This is basically easily monitored via social media. If they sell on a website, any promotions that they publicize to the public, that's easier for a local license compared to a standard license, obviously. What you're asking, it's easy to walk into a local store here in Norco to actually ensure that they are creating the exact products that are listed in their agreement. If in fact we're tipped off that they may not be following the agreement that they've signed, at that point we will pay a visit to them to ensure everything's status quo.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hoffman.
Good job, Kelly, on this. I'm looking at your violations, and I understand that when you use, like up your the top one, on your page, L49-282, that's pretty cut and dry that someone used that on the logo. But then when you look at your other two on the next line, what we're saying is, and I know there's some, and John may answer this, Horsetown USA together would be an infringement upon the trademark, is what you're saying, and that's on those two. But someone could use Horsetown, John, or a combination of that. It's difficult because.
Oh, of course it is. I mean, it's what we protect. It's like Pepsi-Cola, or Coca-Cola, that somebody can use something which looks a little like Coca-Cola. All they did was trademark that particular mark, and so that's what we've done is trademark these particular marks.
Those marks themselves. Yeah. So, and on that third line, you've got, I think this is Norco Cowboy. That's not a violation of any type that we would have, and that would be legal. But when you put the combination, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you put the combination of Horsetown USA, that's where the legality comes, the trademark, because that is the
mark we've trademarked.
That's the mark. Right. So this is going to, I'm sure people in town are going to wonder why we're doing this, and I understand why you're doing it. But it's going to be some education on them, and you already answered Berwin's question about enforcement and that. And so we'll see what happens. Thank you.
And I'm sure that this will be a learning experience, considering this is the first time that standards have been put in place that are actually legally enforceable alongside with a fee. So I anticipate it being a slow weaning process for those that are currently holding agreements and for those that are interested in the future.
So Kevin, your shirts, it looks like you're legal.
Technically.
I
don't think that you have an agreement on
from
file.
The city store. No, I wish they were at the city store.
Yeah.
He can be our manufacturer.
There you go. Oh, shame on you.
How much do you think I can sue him for?
You'll be the guinea pig.
Any other questions from council?
I have a question, a couple. One, under the Horsetown, where you have the trademark variations.
Yes.
You've got Horsetown with a capital T, but then you have just the name only with a small t. Is that purposeful?
Give me one moment. Like there?
No, keep going.
Is that the T that you're referring to?
Keep going.
Oh, just
On the
go to
logo
the slide
page.
which shows the different marks.
Yeah.
There, that.
So you have capitals and a large T, but then you have a small t up above.
So, we've talked about that on a staff level a couple of times. Yes. The words that you see above the two words, name only, that is how it appears on the official trademark registration. However, whoever designed the logo when it was first created made it a little hard for us that they used an all caps font. So it's a little difficult to tell if in fact the T in town is actually intended to be capitalized or if it's just fitting with the font because it's not the same size as the H. Therefore, we go with the Horsetown USA, only capital H, capital USA, no periods, in the name only because that's what's on the official trademark registration.
So boring.
Oh, yes.
Did EDAC look at this?
They've discussed it in the past. They disbanded a subcommittee a handful of months ago about this.
Were they okay with it?
Yes, they've encouraged this for a while as they were part of the original discussion with the 2016 strategic plan.
And a lot of other cities do this?
Actually, not that many cities, actual municipalities own rights to a trademark. The city that we work the closest with is the city of Beverly Hills. We also researched Huntington Beach due to Surf City USA. However, that trademark is actually owned by their Chamber of Commerce, not their city.
Okay. And then just one other comment. The logo on Bob's Big Boy's hat is very faded. Are we going to fix that?
I think that you would need to ask the planning director about that.
Can we fix that? He's asleep. By the way, you all look very tired tonight. I wish we could
Waking
get
him
done
up.
quickly. Are you in charge of that, Chad?
Dad.
Yeah. Got Steve's vote.
Who's in
Let me
charge?
bring up the
Planning
picture
director.
for you, Steve.
Well, if you look at the picture, it looks perfect, but it's all faded, and I think it needs to be fixed. Did we put that up? I can't remember.
In lieu of prosecuting you, we'll have you take care of it.
It's all faded now, so. And you know what? There's another one of those, too. We should bring it to Norco. Put it in the front corner. There is another one. It's up on the 15. It's laying on its side. You can see it. So we should go get that. No, seriously, though, can we fix that? Is that ours, or is that Bob's Big Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, the manager of Bob's Big Boy would be responsible for that logo on there. It was actually bought with redevelopment money, so if they go out of business, I think we should make sure they don't take.
Yeah, but they're not going to go out of business. They're doing great guns. But can we get it? Can we do something about that? Can we put a sticker on there or something?
If this program is approved, in fact, tonight, they will have to come into City Hall, apply for an application. This specific use would be a one-time use, which is the $25 application fee and a $25 one-time fee.
Yeah, with Bob's, I'm not sure that they're going to go through this process, in large part because that was a condition of approval.
Correct.
Like my shirts.
Yes.
When I got voted in. They said,
Steve, is that the same manager that refused to put the hat on the top, on the guy on top of the building? Remember the original manager? There's supposed to have been two of those, one on top of the building, and they refused to do the one on top?
Yep, same guy, and they have a lot more Bobs than they were supposed to, so they're all over the place. No, just one with a cowboy hat.
Councilman Newton.
Mr. Newton mentioned to me earlier he thought that this was the best presentation that he'd ever seen since he'd been on the council.
Certainly one of them. Cheryl, Kelly, good presentation. Believe me, I've searched for a question, and I think you've addressed all my concerns. Good job.
All right. Okay, so then I am going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there any cards?
No cards on this item.
I will close the public hearing. I will come back to the council for discussion and action. Is there a second?
Second.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Norco adding Chapter 3.70 to the Norco Municipal Code, establishing regulations for the use of city trademarks under the Trademark and Licensing Program, Code Amendment 2019-02.
And I just want to confirm that this is a motion and a second for just the ordinance, and then we'll take another vote for the resolution and the policy?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, please vote on this item. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so now is there a motion to adopt the revisions to the admin policy number 108? It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt the revisions to the administrative policy number 108, trademark and licensing program.
Okay, I'll do a verbal roll call vote on this. Council members Newton? Hoffman? Bash? Mayor Pro Tem Hannah? Mayor Grunmeyer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, is there a motion to adopt resolution number 2019-16 approving the fee schedule for the program? It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2019-16.
Council members Newton? Hoffman? Bash? Mayor Pro Tem Hannah? Mayor Grunmeyer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 6, City Council, City Manager, and Staff Communications. We will start with our City Attorney. Councilman Bash.
I have a couple of things. One, Brian, at the Community Historic Room, we're starting to get some light damage from the windows that need to be blocked up above. Can we get something put up there, some black or something? So some of the artifacts are being damaged by the sun. Just to make this point, the president of Norco College and the head of military affairs have actually been to several of our events. So the veterans portion of it is there, but it does beg the question that why doesn't that consultant know that? So good point, Bonnie. I was at the senior center today, and a couple of things that I talked to Brian today about is they need some sewing machines. And Brian, I just wanted to remind you that you might be able to come up with $117 per machine. Some of the women, they can't afford it, and that's a big program for them. Also, too, the supplies budget, we really emphasized today that they would come up with specific numbers, which I talked to you about today. And then the bottom of the kiln, we need to see what we can do. And I understand it's tough to get somebody who can fix it because he doesn't want to buy a business license. So I understand that, but it is rusting out at the bottom. And one other thing that you told me today, Brian, that really disturbed me, we right now we're doing a budget with our youth groups and stuff. And this has been an intermittent problem, but they have to understand we're their partners. And they must show up to those youth advisory council meetings. I mean, it's not acceptable that it's not like the old days when we paid for all the lights, but we give them a lot. And AYSO, Norco Girls Softball, Little League, JAF, they all need to show up to those meetings. It's really, really important. I mean, I did that for 10 years. It's important that they do that because they're our partners. Otherwise, I won't feel like that we're their partners, and I want to help them, so they got to show up to those. And then the other thing too is we talked about earlier the non-resident fees for people that are engaged in our city-run actually all the programs, youth programs. I would just want to emphasize, I think we need to look at that, even if it's only $5 or $10, because they are coming to us because we have a great program. That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Newton? Cheryl?
Nothing to report.
Matt? Chad?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to convey some of the statistics from the community cleanup. Again, I want to thank Julie Castellanos. She was instrumental in Parks Department for getting all the volunteers and organizing it. I mean, she did a fantastic job. Overall, we collected 47, almost 48 tons of material compared to last October, which was 30 tons. So certainly a lot more material, which is great. We had more vehicles. We had 374 vehicles versus a little over 300 last time. We just ended up diverting 27% of that material that was there. So it just was a very good event. It ran very smooth. I thank Berwin for working with me at the gate, letting people in, and Ted working on the other side, directing people where they need to go to dump the materials on the backside. It was just a very good event. Everybody working together. Everyone had a lot of compliments that we had this and appreciate we do it. So it was a very positive direction by the council to move this direction. This is our fourth one. And it's, like I said, it's been very successful. So I appreciate everybody's help on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. King. Mr. Petrie.
Nothing, thank you.
Gina. Hello. Chief, what do you got for us tonight?
Just a reminder to council and staff, next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 7th and 8th, the Riverside County Training Officers Association will be here with firefighters from throughout Riverside County, hosting the annual preparedness exercises up at Nellie Weaver Hall in Ingalls. They selected the area based on the Norco Hills specifically and the multiple jurisdictions that join here, being the city of Riverside, Norco, and city of Corona. So there'll be many fire resources here for the 2 days. They'll be in classes from 8 to noon in Nellie Weaver Hall with special subject matter experts on some of the things we're experiencing today in our wildland fire environment. The CAL FIRE helicopter will be here both days, as well as a variety of resources. So you're all invited. If anybody would like a tour, just let me know, and we'll get you up there and get you around the event.
Thank you. Lieutenant? Berwin? Ted?
Piggybacking on Chad's deal, and you probably do this, Brian, or can we get letters out to the Church of the Jesus Christ and the high school kids in the U-Turn for Christ program? Thank you, I appreciate it. We couldn't do it without the volunteers. Even the court workers helped out, and it makes a big difference because we don't have to pick them up. And I know, Glenda, you take the U-Turn for Christ, so thank them. Finally, and I'm going to piggyback on what Bonnie said and what Kevin said. When I was attending those workshops at the college, they are not aware of what is going on in our city. I know they're a consulting group, LDR, DLR, whatever they call themselves. They had no idea about the robotics classes at the high school. They had no idea about the kids over at the high school taking the #1 in the state. They had no idea about the athletic programs, the #1 softball team in the nation at this high school. They had no idea about the ag programs. By the way, congratulations on the FFA chapter of Norco being #1 in the state.
Oh, in Southern Region.
Well,
We're
it's
in the
close.
top 5,
It's
but,
close, okay?
Yeah.
But
San
what
Luis
I'm
Obispo.
getting at is those consultants have no idea what's in this community. And I don't know, and you sit on that board, and I get a little discouraged, like Bonnie. They have no idea what's here. And I don't know who gave them the direction or their input, but it wasn't from any of us. Thank you.
Andy? All right. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and let Kevin say a few words before we close the meeting.
I asked the mayor if we could close the meeting in honor of David Vopat. He was the pilot that was killed at CRC. There's a kind of a Norco connection. He actually flew several of the flyovers for December 7th, Memorial Day, stuff like that. A bit of irony, where he died was the end of the former Norconian runway. And that's the third person then that died in that area, in that location. But what's really ironic is the #1 funder for that plane was Peter Clark. Peter Clark is the grandson of Rex Clark, who built the Norconian. So it's just kind of Rod Serling. But he was 51 years old, David Vopat. He was what's called a master flyer. And so I asked if we could close the meeting in his honor tonight.
Meeting adjourned.